Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Seth. In today's video we're going to be breaking down Euphoria Season 3 Episode 7. Now if you've not seen that episode or don't want any spoilers, this is your warning because I am going to be talking about what happens in this episode. So yeah, but if you don't care, then stick around for the rest of this video as I talk about what happens in this episode. Now let's get on to it. Now we have a lot of people that are in this episode. We have Rue, we have Lexi, we have Maddie and Cassie, we've got Nate, we have Alamo and Elizabeth, and well, yes, we also even get some scenes with Ali. And this episode actually starts off with Ali in his background and how he got into his addictions and how he turned his life around to getting better habits, and to even helping people with sponsoring them and just trying to make their lives better with their habits, stuff like that. Well, with Ollie, sometimes you help some people, sometimes they can't be helped, and that's just how really what we see, in the beginning scenes of this episode with Ollie in his background. Now, we also did get to see some other scenes with Ollie and Rue. Now, Rue is about to go on her last, I guess, I don't want to say the word, but supply run with Elizabeth, with the whole Alamo and Elizabeth deal they got going on. And Ali is talking to Rue, and he's all like, come on man, don't do this and stuff like that. I can just stay with me and we'll figure it out, please, and stuff like that. But Rue decides to do what Rue thinks is best for her, and what Rue essentially does is go to do the supply run with Elizabeth because she believes really that she's screwed any other way. She feels like, if she goes with Elizabeth, they're most likely probably going to unalive her, but if she doesn't do it, Alamo is most likely going to unalive her. So anyway she does it, she feels very just screwed. She feels like too, if she does this, the DEA will catch them and she'll just be able to live her life in peace. But it's not looking like that, to be honest with you. So she decides to go on the supply run with Elizabeth's group, and they are very weary of her and not trusting her. They even in some scenes talking about like how they might unalive her and stuff like that. So Rue is very in a tight spot. Well, Faye, who is with Elizabeth's group, basically was like, hey, what you guys were doing was not cool and stuff like that. Rue's, just a good person and stuff like that. So towards the end, Faye tries to break out with Rue because they want to get to that safe to see if there's any money in it. Well, when Rue opens it, there's no money, but there's a bunch of ID cards, like license. And it's looking like Alamo is a trafficker for these women that he has at his adult store, Well, Faye does not like that because Faye thought that was going to be money. So Faye, it shows like very at the end, Faye is very upset with Rue and now is probably going to wake up Elizabeth's group. And we'll just have to see what happens on the last episode for what happens to Rue, But that's Rue's side. Rue really still is trying to see if, her faith and stuff like that, because in one episode she talks to Lexi and is like, hey man, I think this is really just my, calling of God and stuff like that, and I really just need to do something, And Lexi being just very judgmental in this episode, just not wanting to hear and stuff like that and stuff. So in this episode with Lexi does start to get to write some of the scripts and some of the scenes for the show, but she has to also basically tell Cassie that she will no longer be a part of the show because the higher-ups on the show did not like Cassie in her past. So Lexi had to be the person to tell that. But throughout this episode, Lexi was just being very judgmental and stuff like that. Like, I know, what they're doing in their life, like Rue, Maddie, and Cassie is very out there and stuff like that, but that's their life, Be just Elisa, an open ear or something like that. But no, Lexi was just being very judgmental. Now on to Maddie/Cassie. Cassie, as I said, did not get the role for the TV shows, and also too, she deleted her Accountant Spicy page, so she's really trying to figure out how am I going to get money coming in, but more importantly she's figuring out how can I still be famous and get people to know me. Well, so Maddie finds out about it, and Maddie's not happy because Maddie lost her job at her agency after the manager kept finding out about what was going on. So Maddie goes over to Cassie's, and Cassie tells her the whole shebang. Maddie is not happy at all, and stuff like that. And Maddie devises a way in how she can get this going on. So Cassie's gonna deal with this one person that is one of the actors for the show, you know, that Lexi works with. So Cassie's gonna go basically hang out with that guy, get a picture, and then try to get more of a following on that. Which she does, because then she starts to get another page on that website. And it's like we're starting to get some, you know, starting to get some things going. Well, Nas' bodyguard comes to Cassie's place and basically kidnaps her because, hey man, money's not coming in and Nas needs the money. So he basically, what he does for Nate is, you know, of course he ties him up and stuff like that, beats him up, and then he's gonna put him in a coffin like 6 feet under with just a little hole, and then he's gonna kidnap Cassie and basically be like, hey man, give me my money, you know, and stuff like that, Nas. Well, so Cassie has to call Maddie basically and be like, hey, I'm in a sticky situation, can you please help me, stuff like that, I need money. So what Maddie does is Maddie calls up Alamo because she's the only person that knows that can help deal with this. So Maddie has to like really kind of seduce or like kind of like persuade Alamo to help him. Well, Alamo does help Maddie, so they go to the Nate's construction's place late at night. Alamo, you know, grabs all the stuff he needs and drives with Maddie over there, while Nas, it has Cassie and stuff like that. And what happens in this episode too was a shocker, but they did it such an not just in an unclimactic way, you know, for me personally. So Nate, as I said, is in that coffin, he has a hole. Well, people are trying to find Nate and stuff like that because, you know, he's been missing, so for to Cassie, you know. But, as I said, Nate has that hole in that coffin so he can breathe and stuff like that. Well, here comes a snake slithering around and sees that hole, jumps into that hole, slithers around basically in that coffin, and basically just bites Nate. It's a rattlesnake too, I should say. Bites Nate, and Nate dies. But how they did it was in such, like, in my personal opinion, an unclimactic way, you know, for like a good, like, I would say a minute and a half to 2 minutes, it's just focusing on that snake slithering very slowly to that hole, gets in the hole, and then it bites him. And, you know, if you put 2 and 2 together, you know, you could see what was going to happen after they showed the first scene with the rattlesnake. But yes, Nate does die in this episode. So fast forwarding now back to late at night, where Nas and Alamo and Maddie and Cassie are all there. So Maddie drops off the back and stuff like that. Nas comes up, looks at it, and looks that there is no money. And then at that moment, Alamo shoots Nas, basically, making him die and stuff like that. And Nas's bodyguard's like about to do something, and Alamo goes, "It better be a good shot if you're gonna do it." So Nas's bodyguard goes to get the coffin unburied and stuff like that, and then that's where we get to see that Jacob Elordi as Nate, you know, of course, character is dead because of the snake bite. Well, it's looking like now too even that Alamo has something on Maddie now, because Maddie looked in there, he goes, "There was no money." He goes, "You know, you think I was gonna do this? Nope, I'm gonna get profit now on you working for me as you pay your debts and stuff like that," because the debt that Nas wanted for Cassie was $1 million. So now it's looking like Maddie and Cassie will be working more often now, even with Alamo. And really, I'm trying to think anymore. That's really the episode, really, too, you know. We had no Jules at all, which I think we might see her in the last episode. But yeah, I mean, we have only one episode left of Euphoria, and to be honest with you, not what I was really expecting of this season, but you know, I'm still gonna watch the last episode and talk about it. But yeah, it was just not what I was expecting. Definitely is a different atmosphere and different, I guess, season compared to what season 1 and 2 were, you know. But I'll get more into what I really thought about this season with the next episode being the last. Thank you for watching as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and goodbye.